Hello, my name is Chris Wenger. I currently work as a speech pathologist for a high school district. I've really been focusing in on technology and integration with the special needs classrooms for the past 10 years, and I've currently been working on a special education technology team. Jennifer, we'll have you introduce yourself.
All right, I'm Dr. Jennifer Courduff. I currently work at Azusa Pacific University in the Masters in Education Technology and Learning program, and I work with Chris at the county office, the Special Education Local Plan Agency, where we facilitate training for assistive technology and AAC, and we just try to help teachers that are in service use technology more rigorously with their kids. So that's what we're about, right, Chris?
You got that right.
All right. So we want to start just going over briefly some of the tools that you already have in your classrooms. Namely, a lot of schools now have gone to using Chromebooks. So Google Chrome has a lot of really robust accessibility features. As you see on this screen, there's several different tools in your Google Drive. But what I want to show you right now, I'm going to share my screen with you. We can do this. Okay. So I did a quick search before the conference, and in my browser, in my Chrome, I'm using Chrome because it is one of the most robust browsers for accessibility currently. I did a quick search for Chrome extensions, and I added the word accessibility, and I ended up here on this page. So we're going to show you a few really powerful tools today, but I wanted you to know that there are more. There's just a plethora of tools out there for you that are free. I guess I want to say that because there's no reason to pay for apps or extensions when they have such a robust offering free online through the Chrome store that just hook up, and you'll see my browser here. I've got a bunch of extensions that I use on a regular basis. So if you don't have speech to text, text to speech, notes, all kinds of great Don Johnson related to tools as well that they've been made accessible to teachers and learners free of charge. So there you go. That's the start. And I want to start with showing you one of my favorite tools. So I'm going to move my browser out of the way here. There we go. So one of my favorite tools is ReadWrite. It looks like this. It's ReadWrite for Google Chrome. It's a purple extension here. And I want to show you how you can use that powerfully to help your students access content, organize content, review content, just through this one really robust tool. So I pulled up on Wikipedia Mission Santa Barbara, and you'll see that I've done some highlighting ahead of time so you could see how powerful this tool actually is. Right here is the ReadWrite for Google Chrome extension. And I can make it appear and go away simply by pressing the icon in my browser. So there it went away, and now it's back. And now it's gone, and now it's back. Easy, easy, breezy, beautiful. So we're going to start on the right. And every time I open this extension, things get more and more robust. They keep adding new features. It's really crazy cool. So the first one is called Hover Prediction. So I'm going to enable it and then hover over a section of my text. And it should work. No, it's not working, of course. It's text to speech. So if I hover over a section of the text, then it'll read it. And of course it's not. So I'll move away from that tool and come back to it. The next tool, this is hover speech, excuse me. All right, now. Try again. Okay. And no, it's not going to work for me now. It worked for me before the webinar. That's the way it goes. So I'm just going to move on. So the next tool is a dictionary. So what I do is I can choose a word. Let's choose mission. I have to highlight the word. and I choose the the dictionary, and it will give me a couple different definitions of mission as a noun. And this is great for a little bit older students that need that dictionary, that visual, and they can go through and kind of choose which contextually is the right definition for the word. Now for your little ones, if my automatic dictionary comes up as well, if I select mission, and then I can go to the picture dictionary, and it will give me a picture of the mission. So again, context is really important here. I would say to my kiddos, that's a mission, climbing a mountain to get somewhere, but is that the kind of mission we're talking about, like the picture, so that they can learn to differentiate contextually. So the picture dictionary has its limits, but it's still a really great feature in ReadWrite for Google. One of my favorite, though, is the fact that speech or text-to-speech, it will just read the whole page.
Mission sent to Barbara. From Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. Redirected from Santa Barbara Mission. Jump to navigation, search, mission sent to Barbara. The check.
Then I can hit the stop or the pause so that you can have your kiddo sit in front of a web page and have it read to you and pause it and replay it and restart it until they really understand. Okay, so this one, screenshot reader, right here with a little arrow.
Jennifer, I was going to mention too, on the for the text-to-speech too, in the options settings, the other nice feature is too you can change the speed of how fast you want it read. There's 4 different options for it. If you want it read very slow, all the way up to pretty quick, and there's, I believe, 30 different types of voices that you can have as part of the voice output as well, which is a pretty nice feature.
That's awesome. Is it here in the tool here, Chris?
Right there, you got it. So you click on that and the voice, yep, you can change the speed of it, continuous reading, so it will be a nonstop flow, or if you click on the checkbox for continuous reading, then you can manually do it after every sentence. And you can see there that it has a translation feature as well, so for those English language learners.
Right. It's limited, but it's not too bad. Spanish, French, Malaysian, and Portuguese. So thank you.
Couple nights.
Awesome. So this is a great tool for a page that can't be read by itself like a PDF. So I try to just select that, and it'll read it.
Santa mission is a Spanish mission founded by.
So it reads a specific selected portion of your text. It's called Screenshot Reader, and it works for PDFs very well. Okay, so the next one, this one is input speech to text, and we're going to fly over that for a minute and come back to it. The masking is a nice feature for students to really just limit what they want to see on a screen, or also for students who have trouble reading white background with black text. It softens it a little bit. So that's a really cool feature. Then the speech input is the speech to text, but we're going to fly over that because that's more for a Google Doc. And we also have this translator icon. So if I'm just going to select present day and hit translate. And it translates into Spanish at this point. You have to be careful with online translators because they're not always accurate, and they don't do well with colloquial language. So you always need to have a mother tongue speaker around to just make sure that of the accuracy of the translator. But having said that, this does a pretty good job. Okay, so here's my favorite feature is these highlighting tools right here. So what I did before the webinar is I went through and highlighted words. I highlighted blue words, mission words in blue. I highlighted region words in pink. I highlighted people words in yellow. And I highlighted words that I have no idea what they mean, and I need to look them up in green. Then I went through and I hit the little collect colors, click OK, and ReadWrite is making turns my highlights into a Google Doc. Here you go. So my yellow highlighted words are now in yellow on this new Google Doc. The blue ones are grouped, the green ones are grouped, and the pink ones are grouped. Pretty nifty, right? It enables students to organize their thoughts in highlighted colors. So the next button is a vocabulary list. So it's created me a vocabulary list, and I'll show you this one that I got started for you. So I created a vocabulary list of words that I wasn't sure of. So the first word I have in there is shumash, and it's a type of Native American, and I got a symbol. I'll show you how that works for it. So let's see. Let me go back to my highlighted, to my mission. And I'm going to pick a word that I'm not sure what it means. I'm going to say feast. Okay, and I'm going to go back to my vocabulary and using my ReadWrite, go to the speech input and say feast, feast. And you know that it's going to say everything. I have typing right there now too, so you have to be careful. Try it again. Oh, it's still listening to me. I better turn it off. All right. So it says feast. Then I can go to my picture dictionary. And I see a feast. And I can drag my feast into the symbol of my vocabulary list. I can just simply move it over. So you see how I'm building my own document using ReadWrite Goal tools, and I can just move it over. And then I can put notes in for myself under the Notes tab. Lots of food. And then my teacher could type in a comment. Can you be more specific? I typed myself a comment on native of India because when I went and looked up Indian in the dictionary, it said native of India. And so I wrote a comment that says, is this the correct definition? So in this way, you can interact with your students in a text-based or speech-based format online, and it gives them more interactivity with you and gives them some tools to really start learning how to study and how to research using this great tool, the ReadWrite Goal for Google. So I want to show you one more tool that I find is fascinating. Let's go here to the last tool here. This is a simplify text. So if I click that, then it simplifies the text and just it takes it down to bare bones, just facts, which is great for students that need a more simplified version where there's too many words on a page and it just freaks them out. So, Chris, do you have anything to add? How do you use this with your kiddos?
Well, in regards to this section for the simplification, it's just basically taking out some of those high vocabulary words and then changing them into something that is at more of a lower readability level for the individuals, and just making it a little easier for the lower readers, and it simplifies the text for them. Right,
right, and you can make it even more simple or even more complex based on the text. Now, I just showed you the one Wikipedia page, but you could do that with any web-related page. It does work on PDFs, but it's a little bit cumbersome, I've noticed.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you just a couple more tools before I hand it over to Chris. And one of my favorites is this one called Speak It. It converts text to speech. It's wonderful. It's another wonderful tool to use. So I pulled up one of my students' e-portfolios. And if you just highlight the text, you hit the...
An effective teacher does more than teach the textbook. They are shepherds to their students, protecting, nurturing, and encouraging them, and tending to their needs. One of the ways that this generation scholastic and educational needs must be met through technology. As attention spans are shorter than ever, students need to be in.
So you can turn it on and off. You can pause it. I think you can also change the rate of speed with this one. But Speak It is a great little extension for Chrome. You have to pay for it if you're using Firefox, so I don't like to pay for anything except my student loans. So I would recommend just finding an extension that's free with whatever browser you're using. And trust me, you can find a free one. Anyone that's interested can email me after the webinar, and I have a massive Google Doc with tons of applications and websites and extensions that I would love to share with anyone who's interested. The two other tools that we were going to talk about today, one of them that's on the presentation is called SpeechTab. And between the last time I looked at it and this time, they changed it and updated it, and the update is awful. So I'm going to back out of that app for a while until they update it again. I couldn't figure it out in 20 minutes, and I don't like to spend more than 5 figuring out an application, because who has that kind of time, especially those of you who are writing IEPs and doing so many things for your students with disabilities. If you can't figure it out in 5-10 minutes, back out, find something else, because there's a lot of resources out there. One that I do like, though, is called Voice Notes. And this one really is simply you get what you see is what you get. I'm going to say, I can type notes to myself and use the microphone. This is really cool, isn't it?
I like this one, definitely.
Yeah, it's very, very simple. It's straightforward. It does exactly what you want it to do. Then you can copy it and just paste it into a website or an email or whatever it is. It's great for your students, too. And I had this one huge run-on sentence, because I don't think it does punctuation unless you stop. If you stop, then it'll do punctuation. But this one's really straightforward. Chris, how do you use this one?
It's a lot of times on the for this one, I'll dictate the punctuations, and it should put it in. So it's real similar to the iOS system and the Droid system of input with voice, but you have to dictate if it's going to be a period or a comma. And, you just get familiar with it the more you use it. And, that's what it takes.
So,
it's just a little bit of, yeah.
Yeah. And then it types comma. That's not good. So this is a cool tool. Exclamation point.
There you go.
Uh-uh.
Oh, no, it didn't do it for you.
No, I think you have to type the punctuation in. I don't think it's as smart as Siri.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it'll get there, though. And it's great for your kiddos who really have challenges writing. So it's a perfect tool for that, because it really does a good job at picking up the language without too many errors in spelling or syntax, which is awesome. All right. So those are my 3 tools that are wonderful and I love using, and I think are valuable for all of you. I'm going to go back now and turn it over to Chris. There we go. You're on.
There we go. I just wanted to mention one thing, too, for, let's see if I can send this. Oh, it doesn't look like it's sending. For the read and write, for educators and those of you that are involved in education, if you Google for the read and write features, it's from a company called TextHelp, and it's free for teachers, but make sure that when you Google that, you type in free for teachers, and that will give you the link to sign up for those features. And yeah, they're just a fantastic resource for us as educators. For some reason, it doesn't. I don't know if I can send this out. Let's see if I can send it out. Did that come through over there in the chat window? That link?
It sure did. Yeah.
Okay, and so that's the link to get the access to the read and write extensions for free.
And I think it's $100 for an entire site. It's not expensive for an entire site access. I think it's like $100.
Right.
So
yeah. Exactly.
So it's well worth it.
Kind of try and mess around with it a little bit, see if it's something that you can find useful. I have found it very useful, and it has been wonders for me when I do assistive technology assessments for my students. Oftentimes, these tools are invaluable for those assessments because oftentimes the kids are needing word prediction, they're needing text-to-speech, they're needing to collect the highlights to increase their vocabulary. So that read and write feature really covers a huge portion of those AT assessments because it's really covering ground on everything. So I highly recommend definitely downloading getting a copy for free and just kind of messing around for a little bit with Google Docs or any other files that you're using because, again, as Jennifer mentioned, it is great for any websites, any kind of Word docs that you download, PDFs, and all sorts of other extensions. So I'm going to try to increase my volume. Can you guys hear me better now? I'll try and get closer to my microphone here.
There you go.
That should be better. Yeah, I'll speak a little bit louder. It looks like there we go. Perfect. So Bookshare is a great resource for individuals who have some difficulties with reading print, and it covers many, many areas. Office of Special Education received a grant, and that grant allowed access to all students who have print disabilities to gain access to audiobooks. So kind of much in the sense of, in the old school way of audiobooks coming on tapes and CDs, this is now all digitized and you can have access to it anywhere. So I'll kind of cover the features that Bookshare allows and show you exactly how you can register your students for those. So the individuals who qualify for the free membership on these things are going to be those who are visually impaired, or those who have low vision, who are unable to read a standard print, are going to qualify for Bookshare. And some of those people that work with the students like that are going to be, your teachers of the visually impaired, special education teachers, family doctors, ophthalmologists, optometrists. Other individuals who qualify for Bookshare are going to be those with physical disabilities, and those who are unable to read just standard print are going to qualify for that. Those are typically your individuals who are resource specialists, physical therapists, family doctors, other medical professionals, special education teachers. And then the ones that I find qualifying most often during IEP meetings and those students that I work with are those with learning disabilities. So those with dyslexia, those who have difficulties with reading comprehension or reading fluency are going to qualify as an individual member to gain access to these. So yeah, those who work as special education teachers, school psychologists, clinical psychologists with backgrounds in learning disabilities, psychiatrists, neurologists, any of those individuals are the ones who are going to qualify. Some individuals that don't qualify still will have access, but it's going to be on a paid subscription. It's $50 a year for the annual subscription, but the quality and the amount of tools that you get with this is just unbelievable. So, oftentimes some kids with autism or intellectual disabilities won't qualify, or kids with hearing loss, but that's okay. Again, as I mentioned to you, for $50 for the subscription, there are just tons and tons of value to Bookshare. So as you can see here, the tools that it offers on my slide here that I have is that it makes all books accessible. So if you have a kid who is in an English class working on a particular novel, they have access to this book now that's digitized. What I mean by digitized is that you can use it across platforms and it's going to be able to be read to you. So the way that would look is if you had a kid with an iPhone or a kid with an Android, a Samsung, or maybe an iPad or maybe a Chromebook, the kid can have that in class, open up their book, and have all these features there that are built within them. The nice thing about it is, yeah, it's text-to-speech. You can increase and decrease the speed of the text being read to the student. It highlights the words that are on the screen. It's actually dual highlighted, so it'll highlight the sentence, the entire sentence, and then it'll have a separate, it'll highlight it separately for just the words that are read so the kids can work on their tracking skills. It can be read directly from your browser. It looks like I spelled browser wrong, so my apologies on that. And so within your browser, it can be accessed as long as you're using Google Chrome. So back to what Jennifer was mentioning earlier, Google Chrome has tons and tons of extensions that are free within the App Store there. So I highly recommend that. I'm going to type in here what you would Google, or for your web store, what you would need for your extension for the browser. And that's called Bookshare Web Reader. So let me go on to my next slide here and show you exactly how we would sign a student up here. So let's see.
I gotcha.
There you go. Okay. Yep, I'll kind of. So when you sign up for an account for a student, you're going to come to a screen that looks like this. So this is my home screen. This is always the most difficult part. So when you guys are towards the end, this will be a good area to come reflect back on, because the number one question is asked to me, hey, Chris, I really like the fact that I can get audiobooks for my kids for free across multiple devices, but I just can't figure out how to sign a kid up. So you can sign yourself up for an account under your organization. So whether it's your school side or your district or any other facility that you're working for, sign up as an organization, and then it comes to this main screen. On this main screen, where you can see there, I circled Manage Student Roster, so you're going to click on that, and then that's going to prompt you to this next page. Jennifer, if you can pull me to 9.
You got it.
So that comes up to this next page, and this is going to be your roster for all the students that you're going to be, or all those individuals that you're going to be working with to sign up. Towards the very bottom on the left, you're going to first want to add them as a member. So you're going to click that Add Member button, and then that's going to prompt you to this next screen. And it comes up, and you're going to enter their information. So as you can see, what I do when it comes to username and password is I keep it pretty simple and something that's going to be something I'm going to remember for the kids. So I usually put their first, last name, and then maybe just a number. So that way I'll always remember, and so that they'll have access to it too. They're more than welcome to go in at a later time and change their username and password, but for this purpose, I always think it's easy just to do the first, last name, and then just go to number 1. As you can see there for the qualifying information, that's where you're going to check it off if the user has an IEP. So if they're specific learning disabled or SLI or whatever their handicapping condition is that prevents them from fully accessing print, this is where you're going to check those boxes. So the individuals under 504 plans qualify as well. Once you check those off and save their information, it puts them on the roster. And then this next page, you're going to go back on. And then, so now that they're on the roster, in order for them to access all of the books on an individual basis, so if they have an iPhone or if they have their smartphone in class and they want access to all these things, they're going to want the individual membership. So that's the second process that you do. So you're going to want to check. Let me see if I have access to these tools here. Let me click this. So I'll just circle one of these. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but you're going to just want to check one of those boxes there and then add individual membership. Once you click that button, it comes up to this next page, which is, there's 2 options. I always recommend the first option because it's the quickest and easiest. It's as simple as entering the student's first and last name, the child's first and last name, and then entering down over here on the bottom right the parent's email address. That allows them, for the parent to get the email and say it's okay that they have access to this. It's basically parent consent. And I always send a copy to my email so that I know it went through. And once the parent on their end receives the email, basically they just fill out a couple little bubble forms and submit it, and the kid will now have full access to Bookshare. And it's just such a valuable tool for that. So as I mentioned to you, they have a browser web reader that they can use within Google Chrome, and that can download the books for them. And let's go to the next option too real quick. Yeah, the other option is that you can enter this information and submit requests. This takes a little bit longer. Usually you'll have to send forms up to the state and then wait for a signature from them. So I always stick with option one. It seems to be the easiest. And if the individual has already created a membership on this, this would be the spot to go for them. Usually have to renew it on an annual basis. So that's where you would go for that. So pretty easy stuff in order to get the kids qualified. The next thing I'm going to share with you guys is the actual way to use it on your device. So if you have any kind of tablet or a smartphone, this is the app that you would want to download. So Voice Dream Reader would be the app to download. So Voice Dream Reader, there's a light version, and the light version is free. The free version is going to have some ads, and it's going to be limited on your options. But the paid version is $10. I think for $10 you can do so many cool things with this. So Voice Dream Reader, once you download this app, you have options to link your Bookshare account right when you download it. But you can also integrate it with several other tools as well. So you can integrate it with Dropbox. You can integrate it with Evernote. You can integrate it with a lot of other things. So Word docs, your Excels, PowerPoints. You can do Pages, MP3s, Waves, Keynotes, HTML, EPUBs. Really the options are endless on this. The nice thing is if you work within a school district or a setting that has teachers where they upload content to websites, in particular for our district, we use School Loop. So teachers are constantly updating pages and PowerPoints and Word documents. The students can download those directly through Dream Reader, and they now have the text read to them. And again, you can change the speed to be slower or faster. There's 130 different languages that are built within Voice Dream Reader. Actually, I think they increased that. There's 30 languages, 186 voices. That's what it is. So there's several options for voices. There's 30 different languages, and it's just a perfect instrument for our students on text-to-speech. When the students are, once they download the content to their phone, it usually takes about 30 seconds to a minute at most for any kind of extension that they want to download. So it's really fast. Once they download it, it has synchronized highlighting. So the words are really smooth and they're synchronized with the speech. It increases word knowledge, comprehension. It's very easy for students to retain information. It has auto scrolling. You can have a full screen if you want within it, or you can pinch the screen and decrease it so you're only seeing one line read at a time. Really helps make it distraction-free, really, and it helps the reader focus in on what it is that they're reading. So it's really honing in on all of those reading skills and really helping all of our students. I actually, even for those students who don't necessarily have apprentice ability, I'll submit a request to get them the paid subscription because it helps all students out for that reading comprehension and really comprehending all of the material. And again, it's super flexible with and caters towards the individualized concept. So you can pause at any time, you can rewind, you can change the speed, you can change the font, you can change the spacing, the size, you can change the color for optimal readability. Again, yeah, you can highlight, take notes with it. What I like to do for myself is I like to increase the speed of it. So I always recommend increasing the speed 20% of what a student's capable of reading, because they can really develop their reading fluency skills that way. And research shows that increasing it 20% by someone else reading it to you can increase your reading fluency as well. You can set a sleep timer on these things, put on your headphone jacks and listen to it. If a student wants to read a book in class, they don't have any stigma, you know, with having their iPhone in front of them as they're reading their text. You know, they can use it at any time. So if they're between passing periods or walking home from school, they have access to listening to their books, and it's just an amazing tool. So I haven't been looking over here, but Jennifer, is there anything that I need to cover on that, or anything that you would like to add on that, or anything that I didn't cover?
Well, I was just thinking, does it have a desktop version that you could show the participants?
The Dream.
Or is it just for the Dream, or is it just for mobile devices?
Yeah, so Voice Dream Reader is just for mobile devices. Good question, yeah, because just describing it versus actually seeing it is a little different. I don't have, there's no. So it's basically for your mobile devices. So it's going to be for tablets, and it's going to be for smartphones and things like that. But I don't believe that there's a desktop version for that. But with that being said, for the desktop, you would want to use that Bookshare web reader, and that's going to be built within the Chrome browser. So Voice Dream Reader is great for solely for your mobile devices, and then the Bookshare web reader is going to be more for your browsers.
So can you jump into the Bookshare web reader and show us that quickly?
Yeah, let me see if I can. Let me jump onto my account real quick here and pull up my Bookshare, because on my end I've assigned students books. Let me see if I can actually download a book since I'm not logged in as a student. That might be the only thing that's holding me back on here. My account, and then I'll see if I'll be able to download assigned books. So I think I would have to sign in as a student with one of their accounts in order to get one of those books.
So do you want to share your screen and let people see what you're trying to do? That would help them navigate future.
Yeah, let's see here. Well, see, because I'm just on my end of things on my screen. It just basically has what I have on my slide, because I don't have the book unless I sign in with a student account. So let me see if I can do that. Let me jump
real quick. Otherwise, we'll go on to Kahoot, because that's really beneficial as well. Yeah.
I think so too. Definitely.
Okay.
In regards to the voice stream, so let me see if I can share my screen. Did it come through?
Yep.
So just right here, this kind of gives you an example. We'll download the text onto your phone, and this is basically what it looks like. So as it reads through, it'll really take away those distractions from the students, and as it reads through, it just follows the words right along, and it works out great. But yeah, in regards to the actual view of it, I'll have to do that later. Okay, so
all right. Let's go on to Kahoot.
Let's go to
Got
Kahoot.
some time. Yeah.
Kahoot is an awesome tool for creating learning games for any kind of context and for students. You can have students create their own games, and it just reinforces new concepts. And this has been one of my favorite things to use, just not just for crowds, but for large audiences of classrooms. And you can narrow it down to even working with just a couple of students. In my case, as a speech pathologist, I have small groups, and so we'll even play games with like 2 or 3 students. Each of them will get an iPad or a Chromebook or anything that can access the internet, and we'll create a game that way. It's nice because it has audio and video built within it. And it's kind of a platform that's built on kind of a cooperative gameplay. You can use any of your own images to drag and drop in there, and it builds those collaboration skills, the teamwork skills, leadership skills. So I'm going to share my screen and show you a couple things here that I've done with mine. So when I log in, there, if you can see up here in the top middle, there's public Kahoots. So when I click on public Kahoots, there's over 10 million. So I can type in my subject. Chances are somebody's already created a Kahoot for me to play with my class or to just play on a smaller level. So if I type in, I can type in World War I, and I can search by my audience. So from the variety of here, I'll just leave it as all audiences. And then there's variations of the types of Kahoots that are created. So you can do it just as a quiz, or if you want the students to just have a discussion, or if it's just a survey. So I'm just going to click on quiz for now, and we'll hit search and see what comes up. And there should be several that are already created for me. So it'll let you know here how many questions that this quiz has. Just maybe a great way of getting an introduction to a certain unit for our students. Again, this is for all learners of all ages, so you can start off at for the littlest of guys, and then all the way up to your older kids. So when you click on one of these, so we'll do pre-World War I quiz and kind of give you an idea of what it looks like. When it comes here, you can do player versus player. So if each kid has a mobile device, you can go that route. If you have Chromebook cart in your classroom, you can go that route. Or then you have team versus team, so shared devices, which is always a fun time too. Have students get into teams and collaborate together, come up with their own answers. I like to do blind Kahoots too. So first have the kids take the quiz without knowing any knowledge to see where everybody's at, and then getting the results of the quiz to see how well each of them did, and focus in on those areas that they really have struggled in. And there's several different options that come here too. I don't know if it's going to allow me to play, but you have a lot of different options here. I would need an additional device for your guys into play. But when you click on play, your audience, the kids, would pull out their phones, and if they have a Kahoot app, they can type in that pen and get ready to play. Or they could just open the browser window and go to kahoot.it, and they would type in that game pin. So your entire class is now playing together and really collaborating together. Once the kids input their username, it'll put it right up here on the screen. And you know, it has a pretty neat algorithm too. If a student decides to put in something inappropriate, it'll kick them off. Or if there's a name that you don't want on there, you can click that name and it'll boot them right off. I would have to have at least a single player, I think, before I could start that one.
I'm getting in.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, hold on. 275263. All right, I'm in.
And it should pop your name right up on this.
There.
There you go, Jen. So yeah, you can have it to unlimited amount of people that you want in. I know when Jennifer and I presented at Q, we had, I think, over 200 participants that were all playing and interacting together. So when you play the game and I hit start,
I'm scared.
Quiz has 12.
If anyone else wants to get in, come on in. Oh, come on, guys.
We'll just do one
Let me
question
do this by myself.
So it gives you the question, and then she has 20 seconds to answer this, but you can actually increase or decrease the time that you want the students to answer it. So you can have a 20-second field, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, whatever best meets your needs. I usually will do no more than 30 seconds. I don't feel that the kids need to have more than that. But yeah, on their screen they click the answer to see how they got it. The quicker you answer, the more points you get. You can have it on a point system. Again, it's just a very highly engaging activity for all the kids, and you can cover all curriculum activities with it, and it's just a super fun way to enhance learning. So as I mentioned to you too, so I'm going to click on next. It'll go to the second question. you don't have to be limited just to text. You can use video as well. So if there's a YouTube clip that you want to use or any kind of other MP4 clip that you would like to tie into learning, you can upload that right into one of your questions as well. So, so you can see that Jen doesn't have any points yet, but she'll get points.
No, I didn't see the first question. It didn't come through. It was weird. Okay, question 2. Do I just pick a question?
Yeah, just pick a question.
I get incorrect. Okay. Yeah.
But if she got it correct, it would give her some points, and then that's basically how this works. And then we can end quiz for now. And then at the very end, it tallies up how the students did, and it'll save it too. So you can get feedback and results, email it to yourself, and it'll show you which students in your class are learning and which ones need more reinforcement on concepts. So it's a really neat way to gauge where your students are at and get that immediate feedback on what areas of content that you need to hone in again on. As you guys saw too, the nice thing about it is I was able to type that in myself. I didn't have to create my own. It was already there. So hold on real quick. And so we're going to go back to the board. So when I create these, so let me sign in real quick. It'll pop right up. So creating it is very easy. You can just hit new, and then you can do quiz. Again, you can do a discussion with the class if you want. You can do a survey to gather opinions and insight. So when you click a quiz to create it, you can title it however you want it. So we can title this, and then we can give it a description. Click intro, and then we're going to make it visible to everybody. The audience can be a school. And then we can do an intro video with a YouTube link if we wanted to. But for now, we're just going to, and we can add an image if we want to from whatever curriculum is that we're targeting. The questions are as simple as clicking on this and then just putting your question in this. What is Kahoot? And then you can give yourself 20 seconds, 30 seconds. I usually do 20 seconds, it's fine. I like to do a point system because that's what the kids seem to like best. I can add an image or a video, as I mentioned, and then you just type in, what is Kahoot? A new tablet. We can say Kahoot is a new way of getting messages on Twitter, an inquiry-based game for all learners. And then we can click our, check box our answer and then go to the next question. And you can add however many or however few questions as you want, and then you can still have editing features here as you go through and make it nice and simple. And then you save it and publish it, and it's right there and ready to play for everybody. And you can preview it in advance. But I think that it's an invaluable tool for all of our for everybody really. It's just a lot of fun. So I think that it's definitely something to give it a try. The website that it's at is at getkahoot.com. So if you just type getkahoot and then .com, and then that's going to be the website to get there. It's free for all users, and it's just a lot of fun. Let's see if I can get out of here. And we can jump back to here. So it should have jumped us back there. And then Jennifer, anything else for Kahoot that you would like to add, or do you want to?
No, I just think it's a really user-friendly, easy way to access knowledge for your students on the fly, and it works pretty well with mobile devices and as a desktop solution. So I've seen a lot of teachers using it very effectively, which is really cool. So what I'm interested in is, does anybody out there have any questions for us? We've got a few minutes to field questions. One person asked what the pin was in Kahoot, and the pin is the number that's assigned to each game. so that students can easily just type in the number and access the game. I was able to just put in the PIN, hit find a game, and it found the game very, very quickly for me. It simplifies things. Other questions that you might have? And no one has audio, so we'll just wait and see if anyone has questions in the chat box. And while we're doing that, put up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so Kahoot actually works with mobile devices, or it also works with computers too. So if you have a classroom that is, they have Chromebook cards, or if you have a classroom that is, full of computers or laptops, you can definitely log in. The website for the students to log into is going to be Kahoot.it. I put that over there in the chat area. So that's what the students are going to log into, and once they go to that site, it just pops up with, it prompts you to type in the PIN. So you can already have that displayed up in front of your audience or your class. There's as of last week, Kahoot did come out with an app for mobile devices, and it takes up zero memory on your mobile devices. And it's just really cool because it syncs right up with your presentation. So the students can just, if they have a tablet or if they have a mobile device, they can open up the app and it prompts them to type in the game pin. It's super easy. It links right in, no problems at all. But if they don't have the app, they have a computer or a Chromebook or any of those, and yeah, they're just going to want to open up any kind of web browser and do a Kahoot that way.
And I did mention that I have this massive Google Doc where I save general ed and special ed websites, apps, resources, research, great groups to connect with, Twitter, blogs, you name it. And here's the link. Anyone with the link can actually access that Google Doc. So feel free. There's prices in there for apps and websites as well, and they're probably wrong by now because the prices change consistently. They change more consistently than they stay the same. So disregard the price column, but the rest of the information I update on a regular basis. I've been really updating the Twitter and the blog feeds lately to provide more support for special educators to really see what's out there and what people are using and how they're using it. So there's that piece. Other questions or comments?
It looks like there was a question regarding, so for downloading this particular presentation, it will be available on, there we go.
It's in resources under recorded webinars.
Yeah. Yep, perfect.
All right, I'm not seeing, let me look real quick. No, you got that one. So, thank you guys for spending an hour of your time with us this afternoon. We hope that this provided some valuable information and resources for you to use with your students. Our email addresses are there on the slide, so make sure that you feel free to reach out if you have questions or need further information or would like support in any way.